What is up, bros? Me, Josh here, and in this video, I'm going to go over 3 captain builds for the Russian destroyers. This is one of my favorite lines to play. It's a real blast. They're shoot heavy and often class, and these builds are kind of all based around that. The first build I am running, which is kind of called the Quad 3 build, is all based around these skills. Since the Russian line, if you can see the Kiev, isn't quite known for its stealthiness. So what you do is you don't really feed into the stealthiness that much. What are the strengths? The guns. Torpedoes are pretty weak until you get kind of high tier because they're such short range, and the stealth is just not there. So it's not worth picking up a lot of stuff in that aspect. So this is the build that I am running for the majority of my Russian DDs. This is what I run on my Udaloy. This is what I'd run on my Cab. This is what I run on my Kiev. A lot of the lower tiers will go over another build, but for the higher build, this is what I'm going to run, and this is what I recommend. So the first one, I'm picking up Priority Target. Priority Target's very, very nice for Russian destroyers. It just gives you a lot of information as a destroyer player on knowing how many ships are around you, mainly destroyers too, and just how much you need to hit that smoke button if needed. Preventative maintenance is also very nice if you're seeing yourself lose a lot of guns, and if you just really don't care about how many targets you're focused or are focusing you, you could easily pick up preventative maintenance. I think these are both really good. I enjoy Priority Target more because of the information it tells me. 2, easy, last stand, pick it up, enjoy it, embrace it, last stand all the way. 3rd, I actually really recommend Survivability Expert first. The extra life is really nice. It was really hard to get this in before the changes, and now with the changes to the captain points, it's actually quite affordable for Russian DDs, and I really think Survivability Expert is nice, gives it extra little bit of boost. You're going to be spotted the majority of the game, so you might as well have as much life as possible. And then the first 4-point and the only 4-point I pick up is Advanced Firing Training. This is another really, really good skill. It helps you shoot as far as possible, which is what you want to do. You want to get that distance from the enemy target as much as you can, and AFT is going to get you there. Then I would go back and pick up BFT, increases the rate of fire by 10% on all the shells, so that is massive. And then with the final points, I'd pick up Demo Expert. Now that brings us to a 16-point captain, and the last 3 points I would actually throw into Superintendent. So it's a quad 3 because you're picking up 4 within the 3-point skills. One thing I could see is maybe with the last 2 points, get into an 18-point captain, picking up expert marksmanship if you really want it. But for me, I think these are so worth it. You don't really need the super fast turrets if you're going to be spending most of the game kind of at a medium range from your targets and just burning them to the ground. So this is what I would run. That's the order I would run. This is a really, really good overall build for that aggro Russian DD. The second build is going to be a bit more of a stealthier build, kind of for the lower tier builds. Now the second build I'm going to go over is more for the lower tier ships. This is basically like the Ogdenvoy and down. These ships tend to be a bit stealthier. This will also work for the Gremyashchy, the tier 5 premium, as well as the Leningrad. Your detectability can actually get relatively low on those, and you can basically stealth fire through all those. Even the Izlyov, the tier 4, you can stealth fire without even having Concealment Expert. But these ships are relatively stealthy, and I would definitely recommend running the Concealment Expert. When you get to the Kiev at tier 7 and up, they just are so, the detections are so high, it's not worth grabbing Concealment in my opinion. So this build is basically all based around a bit more of a Concealment build. Priority target, I would easily grab number 1. Same thing with preventative maintenance though. Interchangeable, whatever you feel is better for you. I like priority target. Last stand, embrace it, run with it, go with it. This Superintendent I do like at lower builds first. Pick it up, you get the extra smoke, the extra speed boost, get farther away. Your health pool tends not be too good for the lower tiers, but it's definitely worth grabbing. You could also grab a survivability expert and actually run out something like this. That would also help a lot. There's a lot of really good 3-point skills, so this is probably even a better loadout than actually Superintendent. You lose out on the extra smoke, but it's worth it because you can stealth fire a bit more. And then picking up AFT. AFT is going to be the first one I pick up because of the extra range. And then at 14 points, Concealment Expert. Now, if you do run a kind of high, or if you're running your premium ship, you can switch over a normal captain. So this is going to be basically just a lower tier ship because a lot of your higher tier captains aren't going to have Concealment Expert, most likely if you're on the other build. But yeah, priority target, last stand, probably Survivability Expert still, although in low tiers it's not as helpful, but it still definitely does help. AFT to get that extra range on the damage. At 14 points, pick up Concealment. Then you can go back and pick up Demo Expert. And then if you ever played the Gremyashchy like me, you really want faster turrets, and extra marksmanship definitely does help. So this is a really good kind of mid to low tier captain. And then once you get kind of like a Kiev and up, you're basically going to dip out on Concealment Expert. You're not really going to need it too much. But all in all, this is another solid build for the lower tiers. Gremyashchy, the Leningrad, the Ognavoy, any of those. The low tier DDs, this is going to be a better build than the quad 3s. The third and final build for the Russian destroyers that I recommend is actually using the Inertia Fuse. Now, Inertia Fuse for DDs is I'm not the biggest fan of, but I know it does work. Like the Akizuki, the tier 8 Japanese destroyer, this is shown to be relatively strong, and it could easily work with Russian DDs. I just feel like the other two builds are probably going to work better, but Inertia Fuse does have a spot on Russian DDs. So what this build is all about is it's kind of just like the other build. You're basically switching the points from Concealment Expert over to Inertia Fuse. So priority target, last stand. For this one, I would probably pick up Demo Expert first, just to offset the percentage of the Inertia Fuse to not lose too much. Grabbing AFT first, you definitely want to get that range right away. And then at 14 points, grabbing Inertia Fuse. This will help you. So your HE is going to do more alpha damage, but less chance of fire. So it's kind of that trade-off, but it is definitely nice. And then Survivability Expert, and then Expert Marksmanship. The thing about Inertia Fuse on Russian DDs is the HE is super strong, and yes, you will get more damage, but the AP on Russian DDs is really, really strong. So one thing I always say about Inertia Fuse is it makes you a lazy player, because all you want to do is shoot HE because you're seeing big numbers. But if something's giving you a good broadside, you could easily get more damage out of AP with the Russian destroyers and the high rate of fire. This is a really solid build. If you want to play around with the Inertia Fuse, this is what I would recommend if you're running the Inertia Fuse. But you're still missing out on a lot of good stuff. But Inertia Fuse, it does have an upside with the actual alpha damage of HE, especially if you're playing higher tiers and you do run into maybe some more bow-in destroyers or bow-in battleships. It's going to be really hard to get a lot of AP damage on that. So Inertia Fuse has its spot right there. But remember, if anything is giving you broadside, you definitely want to shoot your AP, because it just can wreck stuff. You can even Citadel cruisers. You can do a bunch of damage, and the AP is really solid. So Inertia Fuse definitely does have a build. That's why I thought I'd throw up a build here and show that it does have some strength in this build. I don't quite recommend this build over the other builds, but if you do want to try Inertia Fuse, this is kind of the loadout I would run, and you can see maybe if it works out for you a bit more, being more of like a stealthy long range fighter, and just annoy those battleships that are going bow-in. So these are my 3 builds I recommend, guys. I recommend the first 2 more than this one, but Inertia Fuse definitely does have a chance. You could easily go and switch Inertia Fuse for radio location too, if you want to be a bit more of an anti-DD. Russian DDs are also super fast, so nothing's going to be able to outrun you. So you could definitely run this to maybe potentially find a destroyer, or even overall just grab another concealment captain. So a lot of different areas you could put points in. The Russian line is one that is going to be different from one person onto the next. So remember, it's all about your play style. So I hope these 3 builds help you guys out and kind of point you in the right direction. And I really hope you guys have fun out there playing the Russian DDs, because they are just a blast. But that is it for me, guys. This is my video on the Russian DD captain builds. Hope you guys liked it. Remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.